Welcome back, everyone. I am the Depressed Dior, and this is Kingdom Death Monster. Excuse me. So, like I mentioned before, we are going to go ahead and start with Year Zero with the intro battle. Like I mentioned before, every character starts with a founding stone, which is that shard of stone that you ripped out of the ground. And then we all start with a piece of cloth. All it does is give you one armor to the waist. As far as armor is concerned, you can tell what location it goes to by the symbol and then how much it gives. So every character here has one armor on the waist that I've already updated. Okay, so the way this works is we have to position ourselves for the combat. Now if we go ahead and bring this up. Oops, sorry about this. Go ahead and pull this up here. So what we're supposed to be doing is following the intro here. So I'm going to go ahead and just show that off real quick. So that's all good, that's all good. Sorry, the thing is not loading right. There we go. So if we look here on the map, shows the map here, and it shows how you're supposed to set up. The monster's going to be in the center here, and you can be positioned anywhere in this blue area, which is exactly 6 spaces away, Manhattan distance. So as long as you're within 6 range of any part of the monster does take up 4 tiles, you are in the right spot. You can also have the monster face any direction at the start, which can have some influences on how things go. This thing here where it says the monster controller, the way the AI works is you're supposed to draw AI cards, but it's every player is supposed to take a turn controlling the monster, which can have some mechanical benefits. Since I am playing solo, I cannot get the benefits of being a monster controller because I control all of the characters. Alright, and I didn't really talk about the characters that I went ahead and picked. You always start with 2 males and 2 females. So for our females, we have Rainbow, and Mima. For the males, we have Renezuki and Rayask. Unfortunately, there are not very many male Gensokyo characters, so besides Renezuki, that's pretty much all we get. Anyway, thankfully, Roll20 makes it very easy to tell how far distance your characters are, unless you screw it up like I just did. We want this to be squares. Switch that to squares. And I already have it on Manhattan. There you go. That's better. For some reason, it never saves that. So yeah. Alright, so that's 5 spaces away. We don't want that. We want to be like that. I mean, I can spread out my characters if I really want to, but it's not. You generally want to stay close together for this particular fight. Positioning is definitely very important, especially for this monster we're fighting. The monster we are fighting is a white lion, by the way. So let's go ahead and pull up some stats. So yeah, you can see I have a bunch of monsters. There are expansions, but I have not implemented them yet. So be aware of that, I guess. Anyway, so White Lion. There's multiple levels of White Lion, but what we're doing is the first story. And so the first story, we have a custom deck list, which is made up of 8 cards. So that means we have to do 9 wounds to this thing to kill it. It has a movement of 6 and a toughness of 6, which means that anytime we wound, we need to meet or beat 6 in order to actually cause damage to him. Alright, so with that said and done, let's go ahead and start the fight. I'm going to go ahead and just keep this position here and have the White Lion face us, because there's no point otherwise. As for the AI deck, I didn't really have time to explain this before. I own the physical card game, or board game, sorry, and what I have the AI deck already made in front of me. It's sitting on my desk, and I'm drawing cards from it. Because there's not really a way to make a very manipulative deck through Roll20. So what I'll be doing throughout this is I'll be drawing the card, and whatever card I draw, I will show it to you guys through this. So I'll be on the honor system for this. I can assure you I will not be cheating. Alright, so AI cards are divided into types. There are special, legendary, advanced, and basic. This particular White Lion has 5 basic cards and 3 advanced cards. Now, I already mentioned in the previous part that the first card is always hard-coded to be Claw. So, oh, by the way, unless it says otherwise, the monster always goes first in a showdown, because monsters are the best. So, here's Claw. Now let's go ahead and explain some of the details. In the top right, it shows what type of card it is. It's a basic card. There's the name of the card and what creature it belongs to based off the symbol on the top left. And the card will have multiple sections, which are divided up by these little arrows. These dividers are actually important, but not right now. But the way you're supposed to do this is you're supposed to pick a target based off the requirements that are listed in order. So right now, the first, you do it based off the first requirement. And if nothing matches that, you go to the next one, and then you do the final ability. By the way, if for sniff, that's whenever it never has a target. If it has to sniff, it does this, which is it makes everyone classified as threats. And if it's a higher level white lion, it can also give them accuracy bonuses. Anyway, so generally you don't want them to do their no target ability because it generally does some things that are not very favorable. Anyway, so claw, closest threat facing in range. So it's facing towards us, so that takes care of that problem. The way facing works is it's like a reverse cone. So kind of it pretty much everything that's like in front of him like that is fair game. And range represents its movement. So its range is now 6 spaces away. So it ends up doing something like this. It ends up becoming this reverse pyramid type thing. That's what it means by in range. So if you're within that, you are classified as in range and in facing. If it's just in range, not facing, then it's any direction from here. So it'd be like 6 range there. Sorry, it should be like that. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So it ends up being a kind of just a big circle around it. Now, threats. Things that are classified as threats are anyone that's standing that's not hiding in some way. So if one of these characters happened to be knocked down, they would be not classified as a threat and therefore would not be targeted. So, first requirement is closest threat facing in range. That is all 4 characters. I can pick which one to target first. And since I have never forgiven Renazuki for the Fundoshi incident from Toho Soccer, I'm going to go straight for him. So the next part about this card is you're supposed to move and attack. White Lion has a movement of 6. It can run through people, it can run through terrain, it can run through pretty much everything. If it runs through a person, it will usually knock them down. If they stop on top of a person, it will knock them down and knock them back a certain distance. It'll generally knock them back about 5 spaces. Alright, so first things first, let's move. I'm just going to move him this way. Like so. Alright, with that said and done, next I will attack. Now, just like our weapons, it has very similar system. Speed represents how many attacks it gets. Accuracy is the number it needs to meet or beat. And then damage is just how many points of damage it does. It's not. Survivors have strength, which represents how helps them actually cause damage. In the case of monsters, they always cause damage. It's just certain attacks will do more damage than others. So, I need to roll 2. I didn't really explain this before, but hit locations are done with D6s, but everything else is done with D10s. So, speed 2, which means I roll 2D10. Anything that's 2 or higher is a hit. So I hit twice, as you can see here, 5 and a 6. That is 2 hits. So next, I need to see where where Renazuki gets hit. Both hits hit the body. So what this would do is it's going to do 2 points of damage, which would knock him down. Now what I can do is I can spend 1 survival point to dodge. You can dodge once per round, unless it says otherwise, to negate 1 hit. So I'm going to go, I don't want to get knocked down, so I'm going to go ahead and spend a survival point and just negate 1 of those hits. So I took Renazuki took 1 damage to the body. And that's it. That is the monster's turn. Monster drew 1 AI card and ended its turn. So, the next part we need to do is it's our turn. All of our characters can go in, all survivors can go in any order that they want, but once a survivor begins their turn, they have to end it before anyone else can do anything. There are ways to kind of interrupt each other with certain survival moves, but we don't have any of those just yet. Alright, so one of the things I generally do on the first battle is I will usually go ahead and throw one of my founding stones. Because I already know that the hit location deck is hard-coded to have a certain it's going to have Strange Hand. This is hard-coded for the tutorial fight. The first hit location is always Strange Hand. So the way hit locations work in this game is you draw them. You draw a number of cards equal to the amount of hits you did, and then you choose to resolve them in any order you want, unless it says otherwise. The way it works is the location will have certain traits to it. For example, Strange Hand, it has a reaction. This little R symbol represents a reaction. And then what's next to it represents what would trigger it. What this does is when I attempt to wound this location, if I fail to wound it, this triggers, and he will. What the white lion will do is it will turn towards the attacker and attack back, so countering him. One thing to note is while you are attacking anytime you are attacking, you cannot dodge. You cannot spend any survival points while you're attacking. So counterattacks are generally the most devastating thing in this game because you can't properly defend yourself from them. So taking this basic action as a counterattack for failing is pretty rough. And right now we have about a 60% chance to wound a location if we're using a Founding Stone. Now down here, it has a critical wound. Any hit location that has a critical wound can be critted. Unless you a crit is a natural 10, though there are ways to get your get more crit range by either having more luck or having certain traits like deadly on your weapon. So for example, if we were using our Founding Stone, a natural 10 would be a crit. But if we were using our Hands and Teeth, we would crit on a 9 or a 10. Now, this only applies if a hit location has a critical wound on it. If it doesn't, you cannot crit it. Period. Now, what a critical wound will do is it'll trigger something else. In this case, it would sever the hand. It would also negate any reactions that this card may have, which some cards have reactions based off wounds, some have reactions based off of failure, like this one, and some just have it based off reflex, which means it happens no matter what, unless you crit. So, also, some other things that can happen when you crit is it can cause a persistent injury. For example, lost hand, in which case that can affect certain AI cards. For example, if this white lion had an attack that required it to use its hands, and it doesn't have any hands, it would actually trigger some other effect that's usually beneficial for the rest of the group because you're not getting killed. If it's a persistent injury, that means you keep this in play, which means it stays out of the hit location deck. There are ways to shuffle the hit location deck. Any resolved hit locations besides persistence will go to the discard pile. In which case, the deck will get smaller and smaller until you get kind of screwed. Alright. So, like I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and spend an action to go ahead and throw this Founding Stone. As I mentioned in the last video, I can choose to swing the stone. It's an automatic hit and an automatic crit, and it's infinite range. I'm going to have Mima do this. So that is a hit on the white lion from this range. I draw the first card that's in the hit location deck, which is going to be Strange Hand because it's hard-coded. The way I want to keep track of duplicate cards is I'm going to be typing in the number that the hit location represents. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, if I get a 1, that's a bad thing. Alright, so, Strange Hand. Now, like I mentioned, it's an auto-hit, auto-crit, so I don't need to roll anything. I just critical wounded it. So I hacked off its hand, which means this will stay permanent, and I can spend a survival point to treasure this moment and gain +1 permanent strength. So what I'm going to do for Mima is I'm going to spend that her one and only survival point to increase her strength by 1. So what this does is even if when I'm attacking with my hands and feet, I will still at least have +1 to the damage. Okay. Also, whenever you wound a monster, you remove the top card of the AI deck and remove it. There are ways for the monster to heal, but otherwise it is unusable to the monster from now on. And so I'm going to go ahead and represent how many cards are left with these little blood tokens here. And so it has 7 cards left in the deck. The discard pile for the AI deck does count towards its wounds. It does count as part of its HP. So if you run out of cards and you do another wound, if the deck runs out of cards and you cause a wound, you will remove a card from the discard. So there you go. Anyway, sorry about that. That was a little long-winded. Mima just did her action. She just severed the hand, did a wound. I'm going to go ahead and move her away for now. I can move 5 spaces at Manhattan distance. That was 5 spaces. All right. Next, I'm going to have Renazuki go. I want to go ahead and have him make an attack. So, 2d10. We'll go ahead and show that weapon off again. 2 speed, 7 accuracy, 1 strength. That means I roll 2d10, I hit on 7+. 1 hit. Now, since it's no longer hard-coded, I have to randomize it. So what I'm going to be doing is rolling a 1d23. Yeah, that doesn't exist, but it's a random number generator. And if I get 23 again, I will re-roll. So 1d23, 13. 13 is the ribs. There you go. So this has a reaction based off wounding. If I cause a wound on this location, this will trigger. Also, if I happen to crit, it can cause a debuff. Okay, so with that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and, wrong thing. I'm going to go ahead and update this to keep track of my wounds, or keep track of what cards have been used. Alright, there's only 1 hit location, so there's no point in talking about order here, and I need to roll a 1d10 plus my strength. Renazuki has 0 strength, but the Founding Stone has 1 strength, so it's a total of 1d10 plus 1. And that is a failed to wound. I need a 6 or higher, so that failed to do anything. But at least he didn't get countered. Alright, so next thing I can go ahead and do is I'm going to have Reyes go ahead and attack. Now, something to note about monsters is they have blind spots, and it's directly behind them. So in this case, this spot here, and the spot he's standing in is a blind spot for the monster. If the monster is bigger, that means it has more blind spots, but it's always directly behind the monster. When you attack from behind, or when you attack from a blind spot, you get +1 accuracy. So my 7+ is now a 6+. So I have a little bit higher chance of hitting. And I hit both times. One of those hits is a perfect hit, which can trigger certain things, but in this case it doesn't trigger anything. So next I do a 2d23, in which case I get 21 and 22. I keep opening the wrong thing here. I'm just going to close this. There you go. 21, 22. Alright, in this case I did get 2 hits, and I get to pick the order. So there's 21. And here's 22. Good news is, both of these have no counters, and if I happen to get any crits, that'll be great. But I do need to state the order I do these in. So I'm going to go ahead and do soft belly first. Once again, it's 1d10 plus 1. Alright, that is a wound. So we remove the top card without looking at it, and put it and remove it from play. Okay, and now I'll attack the other spot. And that is a fail. Alright. Last person is Rainbow. So right now the monster is down to 6 cards left. One of those cards we know is Claw. Now, actually there's one thing I can do with Rayask as well, is I can go ahead and move him. So I'm going to go ahead and just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I will go ahead and move Reimu 1, 2, and 3. And attack from here. So once again, I'm attacking from the blind spot, so I hit on 6s. And I rolled double 1s. It was bound to happen eventually. Okay, that is everyone's actions. So now it's the White Lion's turn. At this point, I don't know what the next card's going to be. But I do now. Alright, so this is Terrifying Roar. This is an advanced card. Advanced cards are generally much more nasty. Alright, so this is affecting all non-death survivors, which is everybody. And I have to roll, what this does is it's going to do intimidate all targets, roll 1d10 per target. If the result is 2+ and is higher than the target's courage, the target will suffer 1 brain damage per monster level and a knockback 6. And then it's going to perform basic action. So this is a really nasty move to deal with. So I'm going to start from top to bottom. So Rayask, Renazuki, Reimu, and then Mima. So I'm just going to do 40-10 and do them in order. Alright, everyone got hit. There were no 1s, so everyone's going to at least take 1 brain damage, which means everyone is 1 step away from dying from brain damage. or, you know, suffering some sort of brain trauma. Okay, this is also going to cause knockback 6, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that is all the knockbacks, and now he's going to do basic action. Now, basic action is different for every monster, but in the case of a white lion, it is claw. Closest survivor and field of view. But in this case, it specifically says to go after the furthest target in range, which is either Rinazuki or Reimu, whichever one I prefer. I'm gonna go after. Let's go after Rinazuki. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and 2d10, I hit on 2s. Both hit. Now I do 2d6. That is body and arms. By the way, for those who don't know, I'm using the table here. I have it memorized, so it's not a big deal. Alright, so Rinazuki's going to take a wound to the body, which is going to knock him down, and then he's going to take 1 wound to the arms. He can't dodge any of this because he has no survival left. Okay. For this, we can just represent this with an X. There you go. Actually, X is a bit harsh. Let's represent it with... we'll do that. There you go. That represents knockdown. Alright, now it's our turns. That was pretty brutal. If we get hit with that terrifying roar again, we will be in some trouble. So, bad news is there's not really much we can do from where we're at. Rinazuki is knocked down. He cannot do anything this round. If we had encouraged, we can get him back up, but we don't. He will not get up until the end of the monster's next turn. So, yeah. Alright, so next thing... So what we need to do is go ahead and try to actually, like, I don't know, kill something. So 1, 2, 3, 4... And hopefully I don't get Rinazuki killed. So 2d10, I hit on 7s. Both missed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, well, I can't exactly do anything. And Rinazuki's in a bit of trouble. I could throw my founding stone, but that'll be another founding stone down the drain. I'm going to go ahead and just end my turn here, and hopefully Rinazuki can just tank it. Alright, next move is Chomp. Closest threat facing in range, which actually spares Rinazuki, because Rinazuki is knocked down. So closest threat in field of view, which is, field of view is everywhere except the blind spot, or if there's some sort of obstacle blocking line of sight. So in this case, it's everywhere but the blind spot. Closest threat in field of view is Rayask. So we turn to face Rayask. Now this is a speed 1, hits on 2s, and does 1 damage, but it has an additional effect of Headhunter, which means it always hits the head, no matter what. Alright, 1d10. Alright, this hits. I'm going to go ahead and have Rayask dodge it, because if he takes 1 damage to the head, it will knock him down. Okay. And that ends this turn. So it's now our turns. We are still alive, but we are definitely in some trouble. So I'm going to go ahead and have Rayask go to the back and try attack. So 2d10, I hit on 6s now. 1 hit. 1d23. 9. Here's 9. Heal. Alright, good news is Rayask has been pretty lucky with these. He has yet to get one that actually has a reaction to it. So this is safe. 1d10 plus 1. That's a crit! Natural 10. So, this does do 1 wound, so I'll go ahead and remove the top card. I don't know what it is. And the white line is knocked down. So, knockdown's a little bit different for monsters. They get up on they'll automatically get up if they get a trap card, which we'll get into later. they also get up at the start of their turn rather than the end of ours. So it doesn't last as long, but while it's knocked down, you cancel all reactions except for traps, and the target number for hitting a knockdown monster is 3+, no matter what your accuracy is at. So now everyone has a lot easier chance of hitting this monster. Alright? Also, this causes a persistent injury. Anytime it moves, I have to roll 1d10. If I roll 1, he falls over, and that will end his action. So there's a 10% chance that he will knock himself down every round, which is very useful. Alright, with that said and done, there are 5 cards left in the deck. We're running out of survival points. The only person that has a survival point left is Reimu. So, Rinazuki, I'm going to go ahead and have him move. Actually, I'll just have him attack from here, because blind spots don't matter. So, I'll go ahead and remove this. So, 2d10, I hit on 3s. 2 hits. 2d23. 22 and 17. 22's been done. So, 17 and 19. Here's 17. So this has a counter of basic action, but the monster is knocked down, so it doesn't matter. And then the growing. I will do the tricep first. So 1d10 plus 1. That is a wound, so we take the top card again. And then the next one is the fuzzy groin. Also a wound. We take the top card. So that has 2 wounds. All that's left is 3 cards left, and they're all in the discard pile. So I know exactly what this monster has left. He has Claw, Terrifying Roar, and Chomp left. We need to get rid of that Terrifying Roar. The problem is it's all in the discard pile, so I don't exactly have control over what gets discarded and what doesn't. So there's a good chance that we could just get ourselves wrecked right here, right now. I could try throwing my Founding Stone, but other than that, beyond that, I don't really have any good options. I'm going to go ahead and move Rinazuki here. And then I will go ahead and move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll move Reimu there. She has a survival point, so I want her to be the one that takes the hit. And I will just go ahead and move closer. Sorry, let me undo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, just making sure I got the right movement. Alright, so now it's White Lion's turn. I am shuffling the deck. It's just a card of 3. It's just a 3-card deck, so I can't really say anything. In fact, I'm going to put the 3 cards down face down in front of me, and I'm going to roll 1d3. And of course, I get Terrifying Roar. Go figure. Alright, so here we go again. Monster is no longer knocked down. All non-death survivors. So here we go again. I'll go ahead and show the card again. This could kill everybody right here, right now. In which case, I would have to just start a new battle. Or start a new game. So, 40-10, top to bottom. So, Rinazuki, Reyes, Mima, and then Reimu. Alright, everyone got hit. Alright. So this is where we start suffering brain trauma, because everyone just took brain trauma here, which is actually pretty ridiculous, if you think about it. So here's brain trauma. It's the picture's pretty harsh, so I don't have the full picture. Anyway, I have to roll 1d10 and do what's here. If I roll 1 or 2, that is death. So I'm gonna go in order. Rinazuki, 1d10, 7. Lunacy, gaining random disorder, and 1d5 insanity. So I'll do the 1d5 insanity. Alright, Rinazuki is at 5 insanity now, and insane. Also, a disorder, so let's go ahead and pull those up. Disorder, there are 23 of them, so 1d23. 15. Prey. You are prey. All there is for you is death. You may not spend survival unless you are insane. Doesn't really matter either way, because he's insane and he doesn't have survival left anyway. So, I have to put in prey. There you go. Prey. Okay. Next. Rayask. 8. Same thing. 3 insanity. He is now insane. Oop. 22. Vestophobia. Cannot wear armor, even the lightest armor rubs harshly against your skin and constricts your ability to move. You cannot wear armor at the body location. If you are wearing armor at the body location when you gain this disorder, archive it as you tear it off your person. So Rayask wants to go shirtless. So Vestophobia. Alright, well the Min lived, so I'm already feeling really nervous. Mima, dead. Nope, there goes Mima. And for, nothing really to say here, Mima is dead. Well, at least she did, at least it was someone that's already used the Founding Stone. Alright. And, yeah, so that happened. Alright, with that said and done, 7, I gotta pull that up again. Sorry about that. Lunacy, same thing. Yeah. Alright, 1d5. 2. So she's not insane, but she does have armor in the brain now. And then 1d23. What do you get? 22, which I think we got before. Yep, Vestophobia. So Reimu does not want to wear a shirt now. There you go. Vestophobia. Also, knockback 5, I believe it's what it was. Terrifying Roar, knockback 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it slides along the edge. 5, 6. Okay. Now it's going to do basic action, so it's going to turn. It's going to try to move towards one of those two. But yeah, there's basic action. Now the thing we do need to do now is roll a 1d10. Nope. All right, it does move, so it's going to go there. Rayask is the most healthy of the group, so I'll go after him. And roll 2d10. Both hit. Arms and body. Arms and body. And it is our turn. Okay, well at this point the next card's either Claw or Chomp. So there's that, I guess. I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and roll 2d10. I hit on 6s. 1 hit. 1d23. 8. Go figure, it's the one character I liked. Oh, didn't want Mima to die already. Oh well. But yeah, just like that. Your character can just die. Alright, so this will cause priority target, which means if you have priority target, you ignore the targeting requirements of a attack and always go after the priority target. So 1d10 plus 1. Critical hits! Alright, top card gets removed. And he is knocked down again. So there's that. Gets removed. There are 2 cards left. One of them is Terrifying Roar, and the other one is either Chomp or Claw. Alright. Not much to point out there. Okay. Well, in this case, I'll have Rinazuki attack where he's at. 2d10. Both hit. 2d23. 10 and 9. I believe 9's been done. It has. Alright, 10 and 4. So 4 and 10. 4 is the chest. This would cause him to charge forward if he failed, but he cannot react. And the other is the knee, which is just a sturdy kneecap. Alright, I'm going to go off the chest first. So 1d10 plus 1. That is a wound. Remove top card. And now the knee. A critical hit, which removes the last card, which is Terrifying Roar that was in the discard pile. So the monster has no cards left in the deck, so all we have to do is do one more wound and we win. Now, he does get a movement token. So we'll make a copy of that and put that there. It's not that important, but it does mean that the line only moves 5 instead of 6. Okay, with that said and done, I will go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like so. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's really. I could throw my Founding Stone, and more likely it would cause a kill. But we're kind of in the safe zone here. There's no risk of Terrifying Roar anymore. So when there's no cards left in the deck, the white line will do basic action. It'll go after the closest survivor in field of view, which in this case is actually just Reimu. So it's going to try to move first, so I need to roll 1d10 to see if it actually succeeds. It does. And it's just going to go... Now I could make it go through my own guys, but I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll just do this. Alright, and that's it. It can't go any further. Alright, that means it is now our turn. It is standing again, which is a little annoying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll attack with Rayask again. 2d10. 1 hit. 1d23. 16. Oop. Sorry, that's my timer. At least I know how long I've been recording now. 16. 16 is the temple. Now, if I fail this, he will counter. So I'm probably going to fail this. Nope, I succeeded. And that is a kill. So that's the end of the battle. When you complete the battle, it's... let's go ahead and take a look at the sheet here. It'll actually tell us. So when it loads faster. So, right off the bat, it's just the tutorial fight. We lost a character. But yeah, here it kind of has some of the tutorial stuff. The details of combat there, it has its own chapter, but for here, it pretty much has what you need. But yeah, here it is. Survivors are victorious. By scavenging the monster's corpse, the survivors earn rewards. This is... Survivors perish. If survivors die, try again until you emerge victorious. Anyway. Oh, actually I should read this too. Survivors prevail in Aftermath. If the white line is killed, the remaining survivors are victorious. In the Aftermath, players should fill the first unfilled box in the Hunt XP section of the survivor record sheet to reflect their first successful showdown. And also, by scavenging the monster's corpse, the survivors earn resources. This is in addition to any resources earned from critical wounds during the showdown. We didn't get any resources from critical wounds. We did just mostly knockdowns. But take out the white line's resource deck, shuffle them, and draw 4. Take out the basic resources deck, and shuffle them and draw 4. Place all resources face up on the table. If players lost their survivor in the first story, they can create new survivors in the settlement. So, yeah. Just because you lose your character doesn't mean you're out. It just means you're probably going to be out for that fight. Unless you're controlling multiple characters, like me. Alright, so first things first, Reimu gets 1 experience point. Renazuki gets 1 experience point. And Rayask gets 1 experience point. So, that happened. The other thing we need to do is roll for loot. So like I mentioned, these are all decks, but since I'm using Roll20, I'll be just rolling for them. Anyway, I'll re-roll any duplicates. So, for white line resources, there are 19 cards in the white lion deck, so 4d19. Okay. 5, 8, 10, and 13. 5 is a Great Cat Bone, which I'll go ahead and show to you guys. So, strong and surprisingly light. There are different types of resources. The primary ones you are probably going to be working with is bone, organs, hide, and scrap. More of the first 3 than the last one. Bones are generally for weapons, hides are for armor, and organs are for kind of accessories. Though most gear generally requires a mix of everything. 8 is a lion claw. It's another bone, a razor sharp retractable claw. The specific items, like lion claws and great cat bones, can be made for specific pieces of gear, essentially. Just like in Monster Hunter, like if you got certain parts from a certain monster, that usually will lead to a certain armor set. Same thing applies in this game. So 5, 8, 10 is another lion claw. So right off the bat, we got a lot of bones. All right, and the last one's 13. 13 is the Shimmering Mane. Shimmering Mane is a special hide, but it can also be archived to gain 2 basic hide resources. This is great. That means we just got 2 resources out of 1. It shimmers in the lantern light. So cool. Right off the bat, we turned 4 resources into 5. All right, and then it also says get the basic resources. So basic resources are over here. There are 21 of them. So 40, 21. 8, 14, 18, 19. So 8 first is a monster bone. A bone suitable for crafting. The good news is we should be okay for weapons. That's the good news. And then 14 is a monster hide. The skin of a beast. Alright, 18 and 19. 18 is a monster organ. It has an ability called, if you consume this, archive this card, roll 1d10 on a result of 6 plus, you contract a parasite, and then you have to archive all your consumable gear in your gear grid. For the most part, you don't ever want to consume these, but this is a monster organ. Which is good, because we need at least 1 monster organ for this year. And then the final one was 19, which is a skull. When you gain this, a survivor of your choice gets +1 insanity. 2, 5, 3. Let's give it to... I'll give it to Rinazuki. Rinazuki, you now have 6 insanity. Actually, Reimu, you have 3 insanity. Make her go nuts. Okay, and then... Oh yeah, I have to drag it out. Okay, and skulls count as bones, but they can also be a specific resource. So that's what we got. That is our starting resources. Alright, at this point, the next thing we need to do, if we look at the book, turn the page to create your settlement. Alright, well, this will actually lead to the settlement phase, so I'm going to go ahead and call this a video then. I am the Depressed Dior, and this was Kingdom Death Monster. So far, our casualty count is at 1. Alright. Depressed Dior, Kingdom Death Monster. See you guys next time.